Hello there, my fabulous friends. Welcome back to my channel, Fabulously Frugal and Fancy. I'm Brandy. Today's video, very fun vintage rustic Christmas decor. This is a style that I don't necessarily decorate in, but I enjoy making the products, and I think that it was a lot of fun to put these together. Pretty simple, but very beautiful in the end, and I like how these turned out. So I'm starting here with this box that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. It was plain wood, and I did stain it with Waverly Antique Wax. I'm not sure what happened to the video of that. This is actually like my fourth time editing this video, and I somehow don't know what happened to the other footage of that now, but that's okay. You know how to stain and how to apply the Waverly Antique Wax. And this is just some styrofoam. Sorry, I forgot to cut out the beginning part of this, but we'll get right into it here shortly. So now for this, I'm just going for a very country, rustic, vintage look, and I'm using some very simple options. I'm showing you what I'm going to be using there in a few minutes. I take some styrofoam and shove it down into the box. It fit perfectly, did not use any hot glue, so it was just I had this deer that I picked up from Hobby Lobby. If you saw my haul video a few years ago, you would have seen this. It was pretty inexpensive. I believe it was like $5, you know, with the discount. It would have been, ended up being like $5 or less. I'm not sure, but it wasn't very expensive. So I get some greenery. I'm using if you saw my other videos, you saw that I bought a garland for like $6, and it was pretty long, so it was just greenery, and I'm using that to kind of put in here. I'm also using some florals from various places. I pick up picks and florals at Walmart, Hobby Lobby, Dollar Tree, anywhere I see something that I think is beautiful, and honestly anywhere I can get it at the cheapest price. So I will look at the years previous. I will also, if I have something and it has some florals on it that I don't want on it, I will always save those and reuse those. So the florals can come from just about anywhere. The greenery, like I said, was just a garland, and I was cutting it up, adding pieces to wreaths and so forth, and this is still using that same garland. So you can get a lot out of, especially garlands, you can get a lot of greenery out of that. So I'm just using my hot tool here to cut a piece of the styrofoam because I wanted to go underneath the deer. I wanted the deer to stand up taller. I want the deer to be the centerpiece of the centerpiece. So I just glue the styrofoam to the other piece, and I glue the deer to the top of the styrofoam. Now, the deer is not permanent. Styrofoam and hot glue can be taken apart pretty easily, so if they ever wanted to dismantle this and use the deer in a different way and use the box for something totally different, that could easily be done. None of it is permanent in here. The greenery, I do glue in a few things, but again, that could be removed. I was gonna try to use these little I don't know, they're like greenery zip, you know, like the twisty tie things that come from Dollar Tree. They were a little too flimsy to kind of poke in there, so I'm just fluffing the greenery, making sure that none of the styrofoam is showing. And then I just start placing some picks, some berries, some pine cones, various pieces out of my, you know, bag. And then I had these flowers actually came from Hobby Lobby, and I like that deep red. I just think it looks very elegant, and so most of the stuff you see me use this year is the deep red. I really love it. And so I am just, you know, hot gluing in some pine cones. Again, the hot glue is going into the greenery, which makes those permanently attached to the greenery, but the greenery is not permanently attached, so this could be taken apart and reused for anything that they wanted to use it for. So I'm just cutting apart some greenery pieces to make it taller. I just kind of wanted the deer to look like he's nestled in there in the wild, beautiful greenery, like he's out sitting in the woods somewhere with a whole bunch of stuff around him. And that is all that I do to Okay, so now I am taking this tin that I also picked up from Hobby Lobby, and I just kind of push it down into the styrofoam so that I know about what size to cut. I just, just kind of push it down, you get a little indentation, and then again, just kind of gathering some pieces. I do not end up using those big red flowers. To me, they just didn't look Christmassy. Um, I mean, any red flower could be. I just ended up not using these. They were a little large for this bucket anyway. So then I'm just cutting out a circle. This styrofoam, I save it from packaging that comes in the house, so then it saves me money. I don't really have to buy like floral foam and the foam to go into things, because I just save it when I can, and then I use my hot knife. You just cut it apart. I had the little scraps of this here, and I end up putting it underneath the big circle that I cut, just so that it raises it up a little bit, less greenery to fill it. The higher up your styrofoam or filler goes, the less greenery you have to use to fill it. So I just put the little pieces in the bottom first. I'm not gluing anything. Again, it's this one is very much removable, can be completely taken apart. I use the rest of the garland that I've been using periodically. I just poke some holes in and I push it down in, fluff it around. I'm pushing it into the styrofoam and just kind of fluffing it around. I wanted it to be a filler, but you can fluff this however you want, and it just takes up that little piece of greenery filled the whole thing, and now I'm just I'm adding some more greenery pieces to it. Again, these greenery pieces, some come from Dollar Tree, some come from Walmart, some come from Hobby Lobby, Amazon, anywhere that I can find pieces, I'm going to use those. And then I had these little picks that had like a bow, some berries, and a pine cone, and I just put one in the front and one in the back. So extremely easy, so simple. This little tin from Hobby Lobby was like $3. It has the vintage red truck on it. It's very cute. You can set this anywhere, kitchen, bathroom, hallway, anywhere. It just adds a little bit of Christmas in a small spot in your home. So you could really use these little floral arrangements and really put them anywhere. If you have 3 or 4, you don't even have to have a vintage, anything that looks Christmassy as the vessel. You can use anything that you get in a jar. You could use a mason jar and just put some greenery in it, and you have a Christmas decor item that would cost you a lot of money if you went and picked it up at a store already made. But if you put it together, you can put it together for very inexpensive if you get the greenery and so forth on sale, or you go to shop at Hobby Lobby or Dollar Tree, Walmart even. And then we are getting into the next project here. I'm sorry about I forgot to cut that part out. And so I used this piece of, I think it's like balsa wood. It's just very thin wood. I stained it with the antique wax. And then I am stenciling on some Christmas trees. Right here, I had gotten some stencils from Temu a few years ago. And I will warn you, if you get stencils from Temu or from anywhere else, make sure you check the spelling. I did find a couple that had misspelled words in them, which is kind of interesting to me. So I'm trying to make this large Christmas sign. In her Pinterest board, she had a big Merry Christmas sign. It didn't have trees, but I just really kind of wanted to add a little bit more color. With the Waverly wax, it does look, rustic and vintage. And so I'm just using, I have a little container there full of green paints that I had kind of mixed. Some metallic green, and because I wanted it to have a little bit of a shimmer, and some forest green. I had mixed this just for a very specific green color that I wanted, and I just have it in a little jar, and I've just used it. I did that last year, and it's still going just fine. So I'm placing, just trees all around. I'm kind of going back and forth so that they have time to dry. Layering in, I have the big tree in the middle, and then I'm just kind of doing some smaller trees around. And then if you're using stencils, make sure that you just kind of don't overlap until it's dry, because if you do, then you could mess up the other tree. but this is sped up, so I am going slow. I'm just pouncing down. I am new to stenciling. I'm still learning, but if you pounce down instead of brushing it, it does tend to bleed less. But you can make a lot of designs. I cannot really paint. I could possibly, Dave Ross my way into making these Christmas trees without a stencil, but it's easier with a stencil for me, so I'm using the stencils. I can create things, but I am not an artist, so it is, it's always interesting. So I've got this layer of Christmas trees done, and then I wanted to add some snow, but I do want them layered, so the ones I'm doing, not Christmas trees, but the winter trees, and then I'm using this like fan brush, and I'm doing my Dave Ross happy little snow bunches all over the trees here, and I just kind of put it where you would think the snow would fall. And this fan brush makes it easy, and I wish that I could paint like Bob Ross, and so this is my way of faking it, I guess. So I'm just adding some snow to make it look like it had snowed on all of these trees, and then I let that dry. I come back, I add some more trees and more snow, and I even use my little heat gun here, crafter's heat gun, to just kind of dry the paint. You can use a blow dryer as well. I prefer this because it doesn't get as hot as a blow dryer. I was using a blow dryer before, and it would make the paint bubble sometimes, so depending on the kind of paint, this little craft heat gun does not get nearly as hot. So then I am just coming in and layering more trees so that I can have a full forest of pine and Christmas trees here for this. So it's fun to stencil, it's fun to create the art. If you go to a store, this is a large piece, probably, I don't know, 2 foot by what, I don't know, I didn't measure it, but it's a large piece, and it is 2 foot wide. So if you bought this at a store, even at Hobby Lobby on sale, you're gonna pay at least $20 for it. The piece of balsa wood was scrap left over from another project I'd done, but you could easily pick one up. They're not really expensive, just thin plywood or whatever kind of wood you have laying around, and you can make this. It's so much easier to just buy a few stencils that you pay a few dollars for, and if you don't even need the stencils, if you have a silhouette or a Cricut, you could cut your own stencil. I've done that before. After I added the snow to this tree, it did look a little too sparse, so I layered on another layer of the tree, but I kind of angled it down a little bit so that the other spots that were empty would then be full, because it looked a little too sparse to me. So you just gotta kind of play with it and get the look that you're going for. So I'm just drying it, and then I add the white over top again. You just kind of have to go with what you think, how you think it looks pretty, what you think looks good, maybe what somebody else doesn't think looks good. And yes, I could have gone and bought a sign that said Merry Christmas that was dark wood and had some Christmas trees, but again, I would have paid a lot of money for it, and it's not feasible. When you are on a budget, which all of us I'm sure are on a budget, it makes it difficult. I'm making this again for my nephew who got married this year and his new wife, so that they have some beautiful Christmas decor. I went with her style, and I hope that they can enjoy this for years to come in their home. But it's not expensive, and if they do decide this is not their style in a few years, they can easily get rid of it, and it's not going to be a waste of money. I know in my own home, I change my style up sometimes. I change what I like for holiday decor. Things go in and out of style, and our own personal styles change. So it has to be something that can kind of either stand the test of time or be gotten rid of without it being like, oh, I spent so much money on that. So that's why a lot of times I make things, because then if I get rid of it, I'm not too upset about it. And here I'm just adding snow piled up on the bottom, and I'm watching this and I'm like, wow, I'm just switching the paintbrush from my left hand to my right hand, and not even thinking about it. I am pretty ambidextrous, but I didn't even realize I was doing that, to be honest with you. I've never really painted with my left hand, but I guess I did this day, just making some snow mounds at least. So, and I'm kind of drying it. I've got the trees the way I like it. I think it looks beautiful. And so then I just add the Merry Christmas at the top. I like color for Christmas, so I didn't do this in all white or just green and white. I did add some red. For me, it was easier to turn the side upside down because I didn't want to lean across because some of that paint was not dry. So I didn't really want to wait. I was being impatient, and I'm just kind of trying to place where I want the Merry Christmas. See, I'd gotten a little bit of green paint on there because it was not totally dry, so kind of had to clean that off so I didn't have a smudge. And then I'm just lining up the Merry Christmas where I want it. I try to tape down my stencils so that they don't move at all. And there's also some areas on some stencils that I don't want. I didn't want the little symbol. It was like a snowflake or something right there, and I didn't really want that. So I just covered it up with the tape. I used the red paint. It is Waverly paint, and I think it's called Crimson. It's a beautiful red for Christmas, and it was a little dry, so I added water to it. Just kind of stir it up. This paint is pretty good for that. It kind of reliquifies, and it works perfectly. So I'm gonna keep it lasting as long as possible because, to be honest with you, I paint more at Christmas than I do other times, and I usually only use red paint when I'm painting for Christmas or Valentine's Day, so I don't use it that often. I've had this one for a few years now, this red, at least 2 years. So I just pounced the Merry Christmas. I wasn't trying to make it look like full coverage, maybe a little bit, see-through in some spots, just to give it kind of that vintage rustic look. And I always like the peel away to see how it looks, and it turned out, I was really happy with how this sign turned out. Okay, so now we're starting on our other little signs. I got this little plaque, probably from Dollar Tree a while ago, and I'm just staining it with antique wax. So getting just trying to get the antique wax all around the sides and everything. So I'm also using this round from Dollar Tree. These wood rounds are great for stenciling. They make great signs, and for the price that you can get them at Dollar Tree, unless you need something really thick, these are kind of thin, but they work perfectly for a nice little sign, a nice little piece of artwork. And again, I'm just using the antique wax, and I am covering the whole thing with the antique wax. Pretty easy, you just stain them, give them about 10 minutes, and then you can apply a stencil. These dry pretty quickly with the antique wax. And then I picked my stencils, kind of placed them where they need to go, and then just kind of tape off the sides. One, to hold the stencil in place, and two, just to prevent it from me getting any paint over there on the sides. And then again, simple, you just stipple, pounce up and down with your brush and cover the whole thing. I decided to do white for this one all around, just because I really like the way that the white looks on the antique wax. It looks very vintage, very rustic, just beautiful for a simple little piece of decor that you can sit anywhere. Alright, so then I started on my large one, and I was kind of debating. At first I was going to do 2 different colors, so I was like, okay, I want the deers to be covered. And then I changed my mind on that, and I'm like, I think I just want to do the whole thing in white like I did the other one. And so that's what I ended up doing. I just do the whole thing in white. If you are doing these rounds or even the squares that come from Dollar Tree, be sure to make sure that your holes from where your hanger goes are up at the top. Just make sure it's lined up. to where when you take the stencil off, it's aiming in the right direction. Otherwise, the holes are just gonna look a little random and be out of place. So I'm just taping this down on all, I get 4 different points here. I do the top, the bottom, and the 2 sides just to hold it in place. And I'm just using the same white paint that I've been using, and the same process. I just, pounce up and down. I kind of hold the stencil down because it tends to lift up a little bit, and so I'm just pouncing away. You do want to use very little paint on your brush, otherwise it will look runny when you take the thing off. The lines won't be clear and crisp. I did do that in some, probably on this one a little bit. Used a little too much paint. I get impatient sometimes and I'm like, oh, I want to, and I forget to get the excess paint off my brush before I put it on there. So just be aware of that. It doesn't make it look bad in either way it goes. It's just not quite as crisp and clean lines, but sometimes that is okay. The words didn't blur in any way. You can still read everything and see everything perfectly fine, and I think it turned out beautifully. Now if you do have a Cricut or a silhouette like I do, you could cut these designs out of vinyl and put them down. The problem that I've had with the vinyl, doesn't work really well over that antique wax. If you saw my last video, you already saw me make this rustic vintage wreath, this style here. I wanted to add it into this video too because it does go with the theme. So I started out, I had this very simple wreath that I picked up at Walgreens last year in February. I got it for 90% off. It's very thin and it doesn't have a lot of fluff to it, so I start by pulling out all the greenery that does not look Christmassy, because there were several pieces of like eucalyptus and I don't know, like fern leaves that to me did not look Christmassy at all. And I painted this Merry Christmas sign white so that it stands out. I used some twine. I'm going through this one. I sped it up to like 400 because again, I put this in my last video. So if you want to see more detail, go back and watch that video. I do go into more detail there, but I'm just kind of adding some more fluff, moving the berries around, putting the sign. I made this wreath probably total, taking apart the other one and putting in the new one, probably in total in like 10 to 15 minutes. It did not take long to make a very beautiful wreath. I did add this into this video again. Like I said, I showed this in my last video, but it goes with this theme of the rustic vintage, so I wanted to add it in here too. But even if you saw this, stick around to the end. I do have the final reveal coming up. I thought these turned out beautifully. All of these decor pieces I think turned out beautifully, and I'm really happy with the way they turned out. I have another video coming out within the next few days. I'm trying to get all my videos edited and up. I've been doing a lot of crafting and now I've got to get the videos edited, the voiceovers done, and get those up quickly for you. I apologize for any delay. It's just been a busy month, and I think through the rest of this year it's only going to get more busy, so just bear with me. I am not on any kind of a schedule. I'm hoping at the beginning of the year to get on a very set schedule of when I do my videos and so forth. So if you are not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. I am trying to get my channel monetized. I've reached the 1,000 subscriber mark. Thank you very much. And if you care to go back and watch any of my other videos, I am trying to get my watched hours up so that my channel can be monetized. So please go back and watch any other. I have lots of Christmas crafts and Christmas projects that I've done over the last few years on my channel. Please go back and watch my Christmas videos. They're all in a playlist together, and you could just run them all and watch them all if you want to. That's perfectly fine with me if you want to do that. Just go back and watch them on my own videos. Help me get those watched hours up. Again, if you want more detail on how I made this wreath, go back and watch the previous video. It is a pretty simple wreath to put together, and I just wanted to add it in here to show you that you can make something very simple. It doesn't take long to make, and you can put it together. you don't have to know florals or anything to be able to do this. I didn't do any florals really in this wreath at all. I just kind of moved around the berries a little bit, and I added some more greenery just to fill this wreath out and make it more full. But you could have stuck with the base that was there and added the sign and a bow, and you could have been done. And it would have been beautiful that way as well. So you don't have to do much to have a beautiful wreath. And wreaths can be very expensive, so if you can make something simple that doesn't cost a lot of money, that's the route you want to go. And I do not make bows very well, so I'm not giving you a tutorial, but if you watch how I do it here, it's not really making a bow. I'm just making some loops, using a thing to twist them together. I think I used a zip tie for those, and just kind of pushed them together and fluffed, and then I used some twine to attach it to the wreath, just like I did the sign. So very simple, very easy. I'm gonna leave you to watch the rest of this and then to see the final reveal. Again, please stick around to the very end. It does help the algorithm, it does help my channel, and I will talk to you soon. I hope you have a blessed day. Bye.
Come to Bethlehem and see him whose birth the angels sing. Come adore on bended knee Christ the Lord, the newborn King. Chelsea's Day, oh, Gloria in excelsis Deo. See him in a manger laid, Jesus Lord.